This is a movie that has as its emotional and dramatic center a trial. And yet, in the earliest iterations of this movie, there was no trial. Explain how that came in and what that says about the story you were trying to tell.
When I brought it to Susan and Robert, there wasn't a trial because I think in the early iterations we were trying to avoid the courtroom taking over the movie, and I didn't know how to get into it without it becoming a big presence. But eventually it felt like the dramatic intent of what the potential of the story was going to be needed to end with the opportunity suddenly occurred one day that, you have the opportunity for a son to question his father on the stand with him having sworn an oath not to lie. And he basically gets him pinned down to tell the truth about what happened in the past, which you can't get those answers out of him any other way. So that climax was what really drove the objective of that trial coming into the movie.
When I read it and I kind of understood what he was going for, even though it was a very early draft, and I knew the kind of movie he wanted to make, and we really clicked on that. I talked to Robert about it, and as he says, he kind of threw us a bone and hung out for a bunch of sessions during development. And,
you gotta let him do something.
So he became engaged. We had low pressure on this one. It kind of flew under the radar, and we got to
no start date, no massive VisFX budget.
Exactly, no release date already, all that kind of stuff that we're sort of used to. So, but it was really organic.
I just like films that have kind of an epic arc to them, and this felt to me, even though it's grounded in small town America and all this stuff, this feels like an odyssey to me. And then I read the script, and there was no way I was going to let anyone else do it.
Once I was on board, it's a job. I'm an actor. I come in, and on a daily basis, you try to make the best and most sincere and truthful journey from ink to behavior, and not keep it just an idea, but make it an ink to behavior, not here, but here. And it was a wonderful experience, a wonderful script, terrific people to work with, and I guess maybe I was blessed more than they were blessed. I don't know.
Every day we would, we'd come to set and be like, so what are we shooting today? Oh, we're just shooting the first time you guys see each other in 20 years, All right, okay, all right, I get it. And then what are we doing tomorrow? We're shooting your first argument where he knows that you're getting a divorce. All right, next week eases up, doesn't it? Yeah, well, next week you're picking him up from, he's going and being booked, and then we'll do the bathroom scene. And we'd just be like, all right. And then remember, then we'd have a drink. They go, yeah, we're going to do that right before we go to the court. And I was just like, oh my God, it was just this relentless kind of mortifying one kind of hurdle after another. I'd watch what Bobby does, and I'd be like, all right, he didn't do anything. I have to go look at this. And I'd look at it, and the way it translates once you're looking at playback on a camera is there are some people who, without having tricks, they just understand the simplicity and the just how to do it, And so I was just trying to follow his lead and not mess up half the scenes we were in. And then we went to toe-to-toe once in a while, and I was just hoping he wasn't actually mad at me.
David, I want to rewind the clock a little bit and talk about the personal experience in your life that informed this story and how you thought about that as you were making the film.
I lost my mother in 2007, and at the time before she passed, when she first got ill, and I had a very contentious relationship with her. We didn't get along very well for a lot of my life, and and my father had already passed, and I had this experience of oh my God, I'm going to be stuck I'm the kid in Life and Pi, and I'm stuck with the tiger in the boat. And it just was this realization that I was going to have to parent my parent, and I wasn't prepared for that. I don't know why that intellectually had occurred to me, but I never imagined that was going to happen as soon as it did. And when I came out of that experience, and there's some things in the movie that are on screen that I went through, and the week after I started to write this story, or it started to form about this family where a mother dies, and the buffer between all the pressure in the family is gone, and this collision begins. these icebergs that are inevitably going to slam into each other. And that was the impetus for the original story.
Could you describe the scene in the bathroom? It's an incredibly beautiful scene, very moving, very difficult, I think, as an audience member to watch. How did you go about approaching that scene, and what did you want it? How did you want it to work?
Just wanted it to be honest and authentic, and the approach towards filming it was, we spoke about it very briefly. We really all kind of had instincts towards what it should be, and we went into it. I knew it was something that had to be done before lunch, and it just, there was no coming back from lunch to that scene. And so, that bathroom was, not to ruin all the magic, but it was designed with the walls to be pulled and flown and everything, and lit flat and kind of gruesome and real. And it was 3 cameras, 3 setups, and it was broken into 3 pieces, and we shot it in just a couple hours. And it was just about capturing an authentic moment of performance between these two. And I don't think we knew exactly what was going to happen until it really happened. And it was just, it was a magical moment.
This movie has a lot to say about family and about, what happens when somebody from your family is gone. And I'm curious, Robert, what do you hope people take away from this movie about what it has to say about family?
I don't know, just that nothing works out the way you idealize it to, and that you have to deal with the kind of uncertainty of things. But then there's always your own process is what's at the forefront of that.
Well, I think you can't do away with the family identity. I know of no family in the world, whether it be South America, here, Europe, that is not extremely complex. Mm-hmm. But you can't do away with the family entity. You just cannot do that. But you have to learn to live with it, and learn to live with the weaknesses and the strengths, and to grow from that. And I think this was a tremendously smart script. The writing here was brilliant, and we had a wonderful team working with the Downeys and with David, and it was just very unique. And each day you came in, you didn't have a chance to talk or think about it a lot. You just dive in and do it. You just have to do it. It's like once again, it's from the journey from ink to behavior. You try to find behavior within an imaginary set of circumstances, with each take and with each day's work, and that's what it boils down to. Talk and listen and talk, as we're doing now. If you do that purely and don't cheat it, then I think you'll be rewarded around the corner with something more complex and more emotional, if called for, and that will be more truthful if you stay truthful on a simple level.
The thing that's been the most rewarding is, sometimes I'll get off the phone with the publicity person who's just seen it, and they'll be like, at the end of the call, they'll be like, hey, wait a minute, I just wanted to tell you that, I lost my father. I have this complex issue with my brother. I can't believe how many people keep coming out of the woodwork. And it's just a really beautiful and rewarding experience to see. I've known a lot about laughter and people disappearing for 2 hours in that. It's another thing to see people kind of have their lives. That's the whole point of movies. I really do believe in, we used to sit around a campfire and tell stories, and we would have a cathartic experience, and we understood life better, and we were somehow less alone because we shared those stories. And I believe in the lights going out and that campfire is on the screen and we share the story again. And that's why I think it's important that drama stays in a movie theater. It's great what's happening on television, but I yearn for those things. I understood the divorce of my friends because I saw Kramer versus Kramer, and I saw people work through that, and I understood it was okay to go to therapy because I saw Ordinary People with my parents uncomfortably next to me. But and had already been in and out once. But it was one of those things where, I really do believe in this art form for those reasons, and it's really cool to think that somewhere in some way we kind of fit into the lineage of that storytelling.